Welcome to today's class. We were doing the story In the Kingdom of Fools by A.K. Ramanujan, Sahitya Academy winner as well as Padma Shri awardee. Now this was story we started the other day. We saw that how this was a kingdom of fools ruled by a king who had very strange words that everyone should believe the reverse order, where the night was considered day and day as night. And he made it compulsory for everyone to follow it. Two travelers come to his kingdom, the guru and the disciple, and then the disciple stays back, the guru leaves. He doesn't want to stay in such a foolish land. And something strange happens in that kingdom. So a thief was about to go into a house and he happens to die because the boundary wall collapses on him. The family of the thief blames the rich merchant for it. The rich merchant in turn blames the bricklayer. The bricklayer, a dancing girl who he believed distracted him while he was constructing the wall. So we will continue the story from here. This is page 22 I'm going on. So the dancing girl is now summoned in the court. Now this happened many years back when the wall was being constructed. So the dancing girl is now quite old enough. So she comes to the court and she presents her viewpoints. It has fallen on a poor burglar and killed him. You have killed an innocent man. You will have to be punished. She thought for a minute and said, "My lord, wait. I know now why I was walking up and down that street. I had given some gold to the goldsmith to make some jewelry for me. He was a lazy scoundrel. He made so many excuses, said he would give it now and he would give it then, and so on all day. He made me walk up and down the house a dozen times, that is more than 12 times perhaps. That was when this bricklayer saw me. It's not my fault, my lord, it's the damned goldsmith's fault." So she said that she had ordered a jewelry to be made by a goldsmith. The goldsmith was giving her many rounds. Every time he used to say that, come this day, come that day. So every time she needed to go to him. So up and down she needed to go that particular day, and which is why, so she was actually not trying to distract the bricklayer. She just wanted to go to the goldsmith. But in the process, the bricklayer was doing his work and he got distracted. So the blame now the dancing girl puts upon this goldsmith. "Poor thing, she is absolutely right," thought the king, weighing the evidence. Evidence is proof. "We have got the real culprit at last. Get the goldsmith wherever he is hiding at once." The king's bailiffs searched for the goldsmith, who was hiding in a corner of the shop. When he heard the accusation against him, he had his own story to tell. So I've given the meanings over here. Accusation is the charge of something wrong, of something illegal. And bailiffs here refers to the officers who execute writs. Over here, writs is a legal term. When legally something goes wrong and it has to be carried out. So the officers who does the work will be termed as bailiffs. So they were sent to get hold of the goldsmith who was almost hiding, and now that he has been brought to the court, he has his own story to give to the king. "My lord," he said, "I am a poor goldsmith. It's true, I made this dancer come many times to my door. I gave her excuses because I couldn't finish making her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's orders. They had a wedding coming and they wouldn't wait. You know how impatient rich men are." So he said that I was helpless because a rich merchant had ordered another jewelry which was immediately required for a wedding, and they were being very much impatient, so I had to complete his work fast. As such, I couldn't do the work of the dancer. I had to first finish the order of the rich merchant. "Who is this rich merchant who kept you from finishing this poor woman's jewelry, made her walk up and down, which distracted this bricklayer, which made a mess of this wall, which has now fallen on an innocent man and killed him? Can you name him?" Now who is this innocent man? Innocent man, the king here refers to the thief who happens to die because the wall collapsed on him. So now that the goldsmith is finally putting all the blame upon the rich merchant who had given him the order, the king wants to know who is the rich merchant who had given the order to him. The goldsmith named the merchant, and he was none other than original owner of the house whose wall had fallen. Now justice had come full circle, thought the king. So finally, this is that same merchant whose wall had fallen upon the thief, and he was the first person to be accused from the thief's family and brother as the one who had killed the thief. So that is why full circle. So it is the rich merchant who blames the bricklayer, then the dancer and goldsmith, and it goes back again to the rich merchant now. When he was rudely summoned back to the court, he arrived crying, "It wasn't me, but my father who ordered the jewellery. He is dead, I am innocent." So this happened many years back. The rich merchant tries to say that my father ordered the jewellery, not me, and he is dead now. So how come I to be blamed for it? But the king consulted his minister and ruled decisively. Decisively, I have given the meaning very convincingly. It's true, your father is the true murderer. He is dead, but somebody must be punished in his place. You have inherited everything from that criminal father of yours, his riches as well as sins. I knew at once, even when I first set eyes on you, that you were at the root of this horrible crime. You must die. So the king is now changing his words. So he is telling, you have inherited everything from your father, good or bad, everything. So when you are inheriting all his property, you must also inherit his sins. As such, you are the person. I knew it right from the beginning. So when you have committed this horrible crime of killing someone, you must be punished. And what is the punishment over here? It is straight away death. And he ordered a new stake to be made ready for the execution. Execution is killing, and stake here refers to the iron blade where you're supposed to sit, bend and place your neck on, and a blade from top comes to execute you, kill you. That is, separate the neck, the head from that of the body. This sort of punishment was given. So the stake was being made, the execution was also, everything was being ready. As the servants sharpened the stake and got it ready for the final impaling of the criminal. Impaling is piercing with a sharp instrument. So as I said you, the blade was being readied, which was supposed to just fall on the neck as you keep your head there on the neck on the stake, and that's how the execution happens. The rich merchant was somehow too thin to be properly executed on the stake. He appealed to the king's common sense. The king too worried about it. "What shall we do?" he said, when suddenly it struck him that all they needed to do was to find a man fat enough to fit the stake. Now, this rich merchant was a very thin person. He would not fit properly the stake. So the king feels that the stake already has been got readied. We must find someone who would fit the stake because execution is more important. So they forget about this rich merchant. They leave him because he is too thin, and they go about trying to find a fat man who would fit the stake, whose neck and head would fit properly, and the execution could be carried out. The servants were immediately sent all over the town looking for a man who would fit the stake, and their eyes fell on the disciple who had fattened himself for months on bananas and rice, wheat and ghee. So finally they got hold of the disciple. If you remember, two travelers came in this kingdom earlier. It was the guru and the disciple. The guru already left, so quite funny really. And this disciple was over here. So, and the disciple fed himself nicely because everything was very cheap over here. He was now a fat man. So the soldiers caught hold of him and they thought, this is the ideal person who now should be executed in that stake. "What have I done wrong? I am innocent. I am a sannyasi," he cried. "That may be true. But is the royal decree is the official order, because the king has ordered, right, that we should find a man fat enough to fit the stake," they said, carried him to the place of execution. He remembered his wise guru's words, "This is a city of fools. You don't know what they will do next." While he was waiting for death, he prayed to his guru in his heart, asking him to hear his cry wherever he was. The guru saw, and he could see the future as he could see the present and the past. He arrived at once to save his disciple who had got himself into such a scrape through love of food. So, now there was no way out. Though innocent, the disciple was forcefully brought. He is supposed to be executed. So being helpless, he only remembered his guru. He only cried to be let free. And Guru was like, he was a religious person, he had magical powers, so he understood that his disciple is in danger, his disciple needs his help. And so we will stop here, and we will see later on in the next class, next video, that how he really comes to help his disciple from these foolish people. So I'll stop here today. This is page 24, okay? So thank you.